Okay. All HTML file has a basic file structure, and you'll see it over and over again. And also, is a basic building block of your code. So the first one, generally that you will see, is called document type. So this is basically to tell the browser that this particular document, it should be treated as HTML, so that the browser can render it as HTML. Now you might find out that you really don't have to put this particular declaration inside your HTML file, and you'll still work. But from my experience is once your file getting bigger, or you started having especially if you have some server-side codes also inside the HTML file, and you'll find out this is become a little bit of a problem in the later part if the browser do not treat it as HTML file. So it's a good practice is always included inside the HTML file. The main thing about the HTML is actually the HTML element tag. So in all your codes, whatever you written, even in JavaScript, whatever it is, have to be content inside this HTML element tag, which is the content of HTML. Now, if you look at the picture that I show on the screen, you find that there is an attribute in the HTML file which called length equal to en. Length stands for language, en stands for English. Again, you don't have to put the attribute in. Now, why you want to do that? The main reason why you do that is because, especially if you want your HTML or your web pages or website to be found by the browser, by the search engine. Let's say if you have a certain topic that your website is presenting, or you want people to find out, and then when the search engine is searching, especially for English language related topic, and then if you do not put language as English, you might lose out to your competitor. So this is one of the reasons why that people put language inside. But generally, that was the main purpose. Okay, inside the HTML file, there are two essential elements or compulsory elements you must have. One of them is called the head. So the head element is actually contains all the metadata of the HTML file. So what is that metadata? Metadata is generally referred to data or information that related to this particular file, especially your website, what it does, and all those stuff. So in the head element, usually it contains the meta, which I'm going to explain a bit later. The title of the this particular HTML file. A link might be to CSS, or a link to external JavaScript, or a script actually written inside the head before the browser render the rest of it. We'll talk about head a bit later on. The next one, that element that you will see, is actually the body element. Now, the body element actually contains your code, right? For instance, if you have a paragraph, you have images, you have a video embedded inside, audio file, or forms and tables, everything will be contained inside the body. So of course, in the body, of course, you can also have JavaScript inside as well. Let's have a look at the metadata inside the head element. The meta element usually contains information such as author, description, screen size, character set, and HTTP header information. In this example, it tells the browser that it is using UTF-8 as the character set to display character on screen. UTF-8 is the most common character set that include the majority of the world's language, ranging from Chinese, Arabic, even to Russian. Also, take note that the meta element does not have a crossing tag, as we have mentioned earlier, and the chart set is an attribute to the element. The title element displays the title of the web page on the browser tag. The link element provides external link to the HTML file. It's similar to import statement in Python, where you could include an external library in your Python code. In this example, it includes a style sheet. We'll talk about style sheet in part 2 of the classes. Lastly, the script element. The script element allows us to include JavaScript code in the HTML element. The browser will interpret anything in between this script text as JavaScript and will execute the code accordingly. So in summary, the minimum file structure of an HTML file shall contain the document declaration, language declaration as an attribute to HTML element, with meta element specify the UTF-8 character set, and a title. Of course, you have to include the body as well. Okay, let me demonstrate on the file structure that we talked about in the last section. As you can see here, this is a basic HTML file. So you got the document declaration, HTML element, a head element, and a body element. Okay, I'm going to talk about 3 things over here. I'm going to talk about the title, the character set, and the extension of a HTML file. Okay, now if you look at the right hand side, is a Google Chrome browser, and if you look at the tab at the top of the browser, in this case index.html, which corresponding to index.html in the MS Code, it displays the file name as the label on the tab. The main reason is because there is no content in the title element. So let me type a content. Say we type HTML part 1, and let me save it, and let me do refresh. And as you can see here, the label for the tab have changed to the content of the title element. So the title element, the content of the title element will appear as a label on the browser tab. The other thing we talk about is that character set, which is UTF-8 in this case. It allows you to display multiple languages with this character set. So okay, let me demonstrate this as well. So in this example, I have 3 different languages: the Chinese, and Arabic, and the Russian. Okay, it should display the character as it is on the browser screen. So let me save this and refresh the file. Like as what we expected, it will display like this. So that's why the UTF-8 is one of the most universal character set that almost everybody use as the character set for the HTML development. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about is actually the extension of the file. Now if you look at it very carefully, at the moment we're having an extension to HTML, so it displays this one. What if we don't have an extension as HTML and extension of index.txt? Okay, so let me copy this code. Oops. Let me copy this code and then let's paste it over here. Let's save this. I already have index.txt open on the browser, so I'm going to refresh this, and as you can see, it displays whatever you type in the txt file, rather than render it as what is supposed to be, like this. So this demonstrates the importance of the extension. If you have the wrong extension, the browser will render it very differently.